4th. So if you're interested in taking a retreat, it's coming up. I'm so excited to go. It's so pretty there, especially when it's really pretty there in the winter. I'm sure it's pretty in the fall. I haven't been there, but I'm sure the trees are beautiful. At any rate, the food is always good and the yoga will be amazing. So I hope that you'll consider joining. Let's get started with our practice. We got more and more people joining in from home. Good, Laura, Jen, Rachana, good to see all of you. All right, let's get into child's pose. Toes together, knees open, arms forward, and your forehead down to your mat. I don't know what it took for you to get to your mat right now, but I do know this. If you just take a deep breath in, open up your mouth and sigh and let all the air come rushing out, you're just going to feel like your skin settles down. Your insides inside of your skin settle down. And you can do that as many times as you want. Take a deep breath in and fill your lungs up so your whole body has expanded. And then exhale, steady and complete until there's no air left. And then start again. Every breath, an opportunity to just start again. We use an Ujjayi breath. It's a breath that gets generated in the back of your throat, similar to when you are fogging up a mirror. So draw the air in across the back of your throat, pause, and send the air out across the back of your throat. You'll feel it, you'll hear the people around you breathing. We'll even imagine we're hearing people from home and they'll hear us. Then we'll add movement to the breathing on your next inhale. Lift your body up into downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, you start exploring. Bend and straighten your knees. Give yourself a really firm foundation by setting your hands and feet wide and long. Then on your next inhale, tippy toe up as high as you can. Exhale, bend your knees so they hover just over the floor. Then inhale, lift your hips up high. Exhale, press your heels down. We'll do it again. Inhale, tippy toe. Exhale, bend your knees and hover just over the mat. Inhale, lift your hip up high. And exhale, press your heels down. Then look forward and step up to the front of your mat. All the way to the front. Set your feet up so they're parallel to one another and wide as your hips. Then lift up halfway and hang down. You can fold your arms and hold the opposite elbow and just sway from side to side. And as you're doing that, breathe and allow for the weight of your head and the swaying to just draw your back out long. Then hang in the center and press your feet into the mat. Come rolling up to standing. Just one bone lifting at a time. You can sweep your arms overhead, look up and reach up, then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. Set an intention for your practice, and 3 times we'll chant together. Take a breath. Inhale, reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift halfway. High plank to low plank as you breathe out. That's it, just like a push-up. Then inhale, straighten your arms, lift your chest. Exhale, move to downward facing dog. This series of movements we've just done is called Sun Salutation A. Together, take a deep breath in. When you exhale, bend your knees and look forward. Step or jump up to your hands. Then lift up halfway and breathe in. Fold down and breathe out. Inhale, stand up and reach for the ceiling. This is extended mountain pose. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. Step or jump to the low push-up. Upward facing dog. Straight arms, lift your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Work together. Inhale. Steady exhale. 2 more. Breathe in. Full breath out. Here's the last one. Inhale. When you exhale, get ready to move. Bend your knees. Jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Press your feet down. Stand up and reach. Look up. Fold all the way back down to the floor. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, low push-up. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. Breathe in, breathe out. Here's the last one. Inhale, bend your knees, exhale, and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. One more time. Stand up, reach up, fold to the floor and empty. Lift halfway, move to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now, when we move forward next time, we'll move on to sun salutation B. Take one more breath in. Even squeeze the mat as you bend your knees and exhale, then jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Now it's chair pose, so sit back like you're reaching for a chair, arms up, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, move to the low push-up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward to lunge, back foot flat. This is warrior one, then hands back to the floor. Low push-up. Upward dog, downward facing dog. Now the other side, step your left foot forward and lunge, back foot flat. Reach your arms to the ceiling, hands to the floor, low push-up. That's it, Harmony. Good job. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Now, some of you have in your repertoire that when you jump forward, you work toward jumping to a handstand. Set your hands and feet a little wider on your mat. And when you work to jump forward, we'll all give it a try like this. Bend your knees, and then when you jump, jump with your feet wide. Sometimes we teach you to jump with your feet together. Try it with your feet wide. So bend your knees, jump, feet wide. Try that a few times. Bend your knees, jump, feet wide. Give it a try. See if you find a little air time, and then land your feet at the front of your mat. You may find it with the feet wide a little bit easier to take the jump forward and have that air time. Take the final jump, come to the front of your mat. When you get to the front of your mat, lift up halfway and forward fold. Chair pose, sit back, reach your arms up, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, move to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge, warrior one. Inhale, reach up, hands to the floor, low push-up, empty. Up dog, down dog. Left foot step and lunge. Inhale, look up and reach, hands to the floor, low push-up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Work together and breathe here. 2 more breaths. If you're taking the jump forward, set your feet up, bend your knees, and jump. Halfway lift. You found it, Bob. Fold. 1 more round. Chair pose, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward lunge. Inhale, reach, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot forward lunge. Inhale, reach, chaturanga. Up dog to downward facing dog. Wait, and we'll join up here together in the downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, raise your right leg into the air behind you, bend your knee, and open your hip up. Now, while you're breathing, press your hands into the ground while you lift your knee up. Take another breath, and then just flip the pose over so your left hand stays on the mat, and your right foot just keeps going all the way over till it lands on the floor again. You got it. There. Reach for the ceiling and then overhead. If you find it available, reach all the way to the floor for the wheel pose. And take a full breath even in this pose. Take a sigh. Then side plank. Right hand to the mat. Face the long left side of your mat. Press down with the edge of your bottom foot and your bottom hand so that your hips lift up toward the ceiling. While you're here, draw the pit of your belly into your body, Then high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg into the air behind you. Bend your knee, heel to your hip, turn your hip open, and then flip the pose over. You can reach up and overhead. If you press down into your hand, you'll come up out of your bottom shoulder if it feels heavy in the bottom shoulder. In this pose, fill your lungs up with breath. Let there be a sigh and soften. Then side plank, left hand to the mat. Face the long right side of your mat. The whole time breathing, setting your gaze when you get into a new pose and bringing your steady breathing. One more breath here. High push-up to low push-up. Up dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge, this time crescent lunge. So you'll stand on the ball of your back foot rather than a flat back foot on all 5 knuckles. So press the knuckle of your baby toe down, and then you can reach up. Lunge deep and reach up. You got it. Lunge as deeply as you can. Reach up and go back. Deep breath, reach up and go back. Hands to prayer position, twist. Left elbow to your right knee. Steady breathing. Stretch the left and the right side of your body long. So really stretch the left side. You got it. Pull yourself to the front of your mat. And now twist from your back left ribs. One more breath in. Exhale and twist. Crescent lunge. That's it. Reach up. Warrior 2. Open to the left. Keep your breath flowing. Point your front knee and your front toes straight across the mat. As you look straight down, make sure your toes are pointing in the same direction as your knee. Yep. A lot of us tend to overturn our foot out, and then it's a little extra strain on the knee. So keep them pointing in the same direction. Now tilt for extended side angle. Reach your bottom arm, your right arm to the floor, top arm to the ceiling. That's it. And so both the right and the left side of your torso is long. Can you bend your knee a little bit more? You might even be able to move your back heel away from you. That's it, Brian. Bend a little deeper. Keep your top arm wrapped behind your back if you're binding. Then one more breath. Hands to the floor for the low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot forward for crescent lunge. Arms overhead, and keep your steady breath flowing. Keep your breath flowing. Breathe in, breathe out. Deep lunge and lift up. Keep lifting the front of your pelvis so that the crease in your front hip just keeps opening, but you lunge. Still lunge, Nima. Yep. And lift the pit of your belly. There. Now go up and go back. Reach to the wall behind you. Look to it's a little bit more work, right? But it's a little more stable. Hands then to prayer position. Twist, right elbow to your left knee. Keep your breath flowing. That's it. You can open your arms if you'd like. Wrap your top arm behind your back if you'd like. Wherever you are, back right body long. That's it. Keep breathing and stretching your back right ribs. One more breath in. Stay here and twist on your exhale, then crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Point your left knee and your left toes in the same direction. In your back foot, press your big toe down, pick up your heel and swing your heel back to the back of your mat a little bit further and lunge. And bring your breathing. Inhale and exhale. Stretch your arms apart. Tilt for extended side angle. Deep, deep lunge. Your bottom arm, maybe you're even using it to press your knee back to your baby toe, your left knee. If you'd like, you can wrap your top arm behind your back, half binding or fully binding the pose. Deepest lunge now. One more breath. Roll your shoulder open, then hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Take just one breath in On the exhale, get ready to move and jump up to your hands. When you're there, halfway lift and fold. Chair twist is next. Sit back like you're sitting in a chair. Hands to prayer. Twist, bring your left elbow to your right knee. Now, sometimes we end up swinging our hips to the left as our chest goes to the right. Keep yourself more forward and back linear. Hips feel like they're fixed and sitting on the wall behind you. Keep breathing and bend your right knee a little bit more. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. 2 more. Inhale, long. Exhale, twist. Last one. Sit deep and twist. Then reach up to chair pose. Forward fold. Feet hip width distance. Hook your big toes. Lift up halfway. Get some stretch in your wrists and elbows and shoulders. And then drape your belly down your thighs. All the way down. Let your head hang heavy toward the floor. Keep on breathing. While you're breathing your steady breath, you can be pressing the knuckle of your big toe down into the mat. When you really get some pressure on the big toe, you might notice how your whole lower back starts to open. Breathe and invite an opening quality to your lower back and your middle back. Take one more breath here. Have a sigh. Then chair twist the other way. Sit into the chair pose. Hands to prayer. Twist right elbow to your left knee. Check out your left knee. Bend your left knee a little more. Yeah, so drag your left knee a little more forward. That's it. You'll feel it more than in your back right ribs. Sit back. Stretch your back right ribs long and twist. Keep melting your left ribs, your front left ribs into your body while you stretch your back right ribs. One more breath. Twist as you exhale. Reach up to the chair pose. Forward fold. Feet hip width distance. Stand on your palms. So hands under your feet from the front. Shake your head out and let your head hang down heavy. Keep breathing and let the whole length of your spine be drawn longer toward the floor by the weight of your head. In the pose, take a deep breath in. Open up your mouth, have a sigh. We'll take crow pose next. So hands, your handstand hands set up, fingers spread wide, fingertips grip the mat. Make a diamond shape with your legs and soften your elbows. The knees rest on your arms near your armpits. Tilt forward from your wrist into your fingertips. Then maybe lift your feet in the air, one or both of them. You'll want to press into the floor and lift your core. 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, press into the floor. Breath in. Exhale, press. Last one. Move to the chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take just one inhale. A sigh with the exhale. Move up to your hands. At the front, halfway lift. Forward fold. Come rolling all the way up to standing and sweep your arms. Then right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under. Squat. Wrap your right leg over. Breathe. The whole time, breathe. See, it gets really quiet. Inhale and a steady exhale. 2 more. Breathe and out. Last one. Step out. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Then left arm under. Squat, left leg over. Keep your breath flowing because it's what fuels the pose, and it's the vehicle that the transformation rides on. You bring in energy and you let go of as well. Step out and sweep your arms overhead. Now hug your right knee into your chest and stand tall. Keep both feet active. You can stay standing tall or hold your foot with your hand or strap and extend your knee forward. I always love the idea of the holding on and extending because it opens up a whole area around your right shoulder blade. Take your leg out to the side, your leg, your knee. Look and reach to the opposite side. One more breath on this side. Bring your foot forward and switch hands on it. Then turn, look, and reach to the wall behind you. Keep your feet active as you take this pose called Dancing Shiva. Another breath. Come forward and hug your knee, then open up for airplane pose. So whole body opening and then tilt. That's it. As you press your standing foot down, let there be a lightness and a lifting in your standing hip and in the pit of your belly. There you go, Gracie. I saw that lift. Hands to prayer. Can you keep it though? Half moon, left hand down, right arm up. Steady breathing. Now activate the foot of your lifted leg like it's pressing into the wall behind you. Keep pressing and then press the outside of your shin up toward the ceiling. Press into both hands. That's it. Once your legs are really strong, you can open up your chest. You have it. Forward fold and hang. Good work. Sway from side to side. Then come on up to standing and hug your left knee into your chest. Set your gaze. Hold either your knee or your foot and extend your knee forward. Feel how it feels to have the stretch in the back of your standing leg and the whole back of your left body. Then you can open your leg to the left, look and reach to the right. While you let your standing foot sink down into the ground, breathe and let your chest lift up. Come forward, switch hands on your knee or foot. So right hand, left knee or foot. Turn, look, and reach to the back of your space. Now, this is an interesting twist because your hips do stay level and you can feel maybe more of the wringing out in your spine. One more breath. Then come forward, hug your knee, open up for airplane pose. Set your gaze on one point and keep your breath flowing. You got to keep working with your breathing. See if you can bring a little bit of upward dog and lift in your chest. Yes, just like that. A little bit of lightness and a quality of freedom. Then hands to prayer position. That'll help you get settled. Half moon, right hand down, left leg and arm up in the air. See if you can wiggle the toes of the lifted foot. Just get connected like a brain-body connection. And then lift your left leg a little higher if you're able. 2 more breaths. You got it. 1 more. Forward fold and hang. Take your time. Roll up to standing. We'll take 1 set of standing bow pose. So your right arm moves back. Roll open your forearm and palm and keep that. Then bend your right knee and hold your ankle from the inside. Left arm in the air. Now stretch. Knee to the floor, hand to the ceiling. Keep all that stretch and breathe, and then just start kicking backwards and reaching forward. You want to make the kick and the reach have equal and opposite action. One side gets a little loose, then the whole pose will go. Take it a little bit deeper to the edge of the pose for you. Stay here, 2 more breaths. Maybe a sigh is one of the breaths. And when you're finished, come out. 2 feet on the floor, maybe hands to your hips or over your heart, or just resting on your thighs. Then left arm bone back. Roll your forearm open. Hold your ankle from the inside, right arm in the air. Stretch down, stretch up, and then kick forward and reach back. Feel how your shoulder just rolled a little forward in that? Let me help you with your grip here. So feel how this has a little forward. Oh no, you got it. It rolled around. You're good. My mistake. From the distance, it looked like it went opposite. Now take yourself to the edge of your pose, so the maximum amount of kick and ease you can create in it. Then take another breath and come on out. Front of your mat for tree pose. So left foot on the ground, right foot to your left inner thigh. Give an equal pressure from your foot pressing to your thigh pressing to your foot, and then press your palms together. Set your eyes on one spot and just bring some steady breath. So your palms pressing, your eyes set. That gives a calming effect. Now let breath move in and out of your body. Feel how it feels to breathe in for about 3 counts and then hold it, and breathe out for about 3 counts and hold it. Steady breathing. Switch sides, right foot down, left foot up. Keep your breath steady even as you move from one side to the other. That space is called the transition. Soon as your eyes go, your mind goes, you'll lose your balance, but you can always start again. Little softness to the standing knee and press your big toe down. And step out. Come to the front of your mat. Once you're at the front, sweep your arms overhead and fold to the floor as you exhale. Then lift up halfway, low plank on the exhale. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Triangle pose is next. Step your right foot inside of your right hand. Leave your fingertips on the ground on the right hand. 2 straight legs and open your left arm up to the ceiling. You get a lot of stretch from your big toe to the center of your heel all the way up your inseam. You can use a block underneath of your right hand. Steady breathing. See if you can feel and create more stretching from your front inner leg. Just keep letting the crease of your front hip sink deeper and deeper. Come on up to standing and turn and face the long left side of your mat, hands to your hips. Lift your chest up high and forward fold all the way down. Walk your fingertips in front of you. Let your palms arc up to the ceiling. Your armpits will feel deeper, and then sink your hips back. So there's a maximum tension from your fingertips all the way up the side of your body, through your ribs to your hip creases. And then breathe into that space. One more breath here in this pose. Then walk your hands back to the center and come up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat for standing single leg forward fold. Keep the width between your feet and length. Your back foot can be at any angle, hands to your hips. Chest up high, little softness in your front knee, you fold forward. I always concentrate on making sure the mound of my front big toe is pressing down. The center of my front heel, it's pressing down. And then all the way up the front leg and the back of it, a lot of stretch. As you breathe, you may be able to fold further and further. Then how you have your legs set up is how we need them. Leave your left fingertips on the ground. Keep pulling your right hip back to the back of your mat while your chest stretches to the front of your mat. Once you're all set up like this, take another breath. And then from your hips, up your spine, to your shoulders, through your neck, to your eyes, you twist. 3 more breaths. Long on the inhale, twist on the exhale. Long on the inhale, hip back on the exhale. One more time. Keep your right hip pulling to the back of your mat and twist. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Left side, step forward for triangle pose and keep your breath flowing. Open the pose up to the side. So bring your breathing. You'll want breath flowing through every pose. You can take your block and set it up tall. Find the positioning that's best for your pose, your body. Front big toe, press it down. Pit of the belly, draw it into your body. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Arms around behind you. Interlace your fingers. Lift your chest up high. Forward fold and spill your hands overhead. Once you get folded and your hands spilling overhead, breathe in. Have a sigh. Let your hands hang more heavy to the ground. And then you have this opportunity to breathe into the whole of your back bottom rib cage area. Bring some softness to your knees and let your spine hang. Every time you exhale, feel free to take a sigh and let your body be more at ease and hang. Then come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Now left leg forward, hands on your hips. Start to fold. This left hip crease, we're going to keep pushing it back. Deeper and deeper, pushing it back. Maybe you'll bring your hands to the blocks or to the floor and stretch. You can go a little longer in your stance, Nima, and your back foot doesn't have to point straight forward, whatever angle's comfortable in your ankles. You got it. You could probably step your feet a little wider. Take your foot over toward harmony. Yeah. Yeah, wide, not long. Long is fine, but wide was what I was looking for. Twisting triangles next. Right fingertips to the floor under your shoulder, and then start to get long. Before you twist, make your body long. Keep some weight in your back foot. So bring some weight back there. And keep pulling your left hip crease back. Body long. That's it. Left hip crease back, back right ribs long. One more time. Press your front big toe down and twist, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Once you've stretched back into your downward facing dog, then come to a high plank and lower all the way down to your belly on the mat. You can keep your toes turned under like they were in the push-up. Hands interlaced at your low back. Press your hands, your tail, and your heels back to the back of your mat. Stretch your whole body long and lift your shoulders, your chest, and your head. That's it. So if I'm in the same position as you, I'm just pressing back with my back body, forward with my front body. That's it. Breathe in the pose. And come on down. You can shake your hips from side to side. We'll do a second set. This time, just rest your fingertips on the back of your skull and elbows really wide. You can still turn your toes under and press your heels to the back of your mat. And then lift up. Elbows first. Stretch your body long. And then your fingertips just there for you to press the back of your head into your fingertips. Just let them meet. Your middle fingers meet in the back and just press the back of your head into your fingertips. You'll feel the muscles of the back of your neck working and long. So not a pressure onto your neck like pressing down. You press up into your fingers. That looks exactly right, Ratana. Come on down. Shake your hips from side to side. Then bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles from the outside, palms facing in. Keep your knees hip width distance. Kick back into your hands and up into the ceiling. You feel it as you breathe, that it rocks your body forward and back a little bit. Come on down. You can wave your feet from side to side. We'll do a second set. Bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles. Let your shoulders roll to your ears into the back of your body, then kick back into your hands and up. Steady breath. One more. Come on down. Hands on the floor beside your bottom ribs. Lift into upward facing dog. Chest forward, shoulders back. Move into downward facing dog. Stretch back. We'll take camel pose next. Bring your knees to the mat, hip width distance, and turn your toes under. Then from your knees up through your hips, through your belly, to your chest, to your chin, lift up. Hands, they can rest like they're in your back pockets, but keep lifting the front of your body up. So much up that maybe you start to go up and go back. Maybe your hands reach to your feet or to blocks beside your knees, but never sinking back. We want to get the backwards from coming into lifting. Now, while you're in your pose, change nothing, but feel how it is in your belly, particularly your low belly in the front of your pelvis. Draw that into your pelvis and lift it up to the ceiling. It'll lift you a little more out of your lower back. Next breath, come up out of this pose, hands to the floor, stretch into downward facing dog. Come through your hands by jumping or crawling, then sit down and roll onto your back, and we'll take bridge pose. Once you're on your back, bend your knees, set your feet so they're parallel to one another, but hip width distance. Then press your feet down into the mat and lift your hips up toward the ceiling. Once you get lifted up, tuck your shoulders under your body. Breathe here. While you're breathing here, just keep imagining your feet like they're sinking down into your mat. And once they're sinking, also hug them in toward the arch side of your foot. So your whole leg and back becomes active. Another breath, and bring yourself back down out of the pose. You can move your knees from side to side. We'll do a second one. Second set of bridge. You'll want your ankles to be right under your knees. So if they seem forward of your knees, bring them in closer to your hips. Harmony, bring your feet in closer to your hips. Yeah. Press your feet down and come on up. While you're in this pose, lift your 10 toes off the mat and spread your 10 toes. Keep them in the air and just press the knuckle of your big toe down and the center of your heel down. Stay with that, and then just imagine you're dragging your heels back towards your shoulders. You should feel fire in the back of your legs when you do that dragging motion. Come on down. Knees go side to side. Next is another bridge, or you move into wheel pose. So set the bridge up first. Once you're in the bridge, fingertips to the ceiling, flex your wrists, and put your hands under your shoulders, but set them wide. Then press down into the ground and lift up out of the pose, up into the wheel pose. Once you get into the wheel, the thumb side of your hand, it sinks down into the mat, and imagine it hugging in toward the thumb. Come on down, knees side to side. We'll take a few more just like this. In fact, 3 more. Bridge pose first to build the wheel pose. You could choose to stay in the bridge. Hands on the floor, press down, rise up. Now bring breath. Bring breath as you feel your big toes and the thumb side of your hand sinking down into the mat. One more breath. Come on down. Knees side to side. Next one. Set it up. Press down, rise up. Get into your pose and take 5 breaths. 5 cycles of inhaling and exhaling. Anytime you want, you can take a sigh and see what that brings to your pose. When you finish the 5th one, come on down. Knees side to side. Last one. Bridge or wheel press and come on up. Press down, rise up. Feet into the ground, hands into the ground. Let your shoulders be at ease on the back of your body. And come on down. Soles of your feet together, knees open wide. Supta Baddha Konasana. Feel how it is in your body from the work that you're doing. And then hug your knees into your chest. Dead bug pose is where you hold the outer edges of your feet and pull your knees back to your shoulders. And then you can rock from side to side and you'll feel the massaging of your lower back. Two legs straight up in the air. Flex your feet so they look like they're standing on the ceiling. Then curl up and reach for your ankles or your toes. As you take a breath, just let the pit of your belly sink down till you feel like your whole lower back is flat on the mat. Then inhale, blow out, and reach higher toward your ankles. Just keep going like that, pulsing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. 2 legs up into the air. You can put your hands under your hips to give a little more support, and then really hug your legs together. Breathe in, exhale, lower your legs 30% of the way to the floor. Breathe in and sink your belly down. Lower them a little lower. Is your lower back still entirely on the floor? If it is, breathe in and lower it a little further. Your whole lower back should be on the ground. Breathe here. Take an inhale and exhale, legs come back up. So again, take another breath, blow out and sink your belly deep into your body to the floor and lower your legs. Breath and lower again. Maybe lower a little further. But if your back's arching, you're too low, look at your toes. Now flutter your feet for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold them there. Bring them up. That's awful when you have to hold them, huh? Make a tabletop with your shins, fingertips behind your ears, and curl up. Then we'll take bicycles. Right elbow, left knee with a straight right leg, and switch. Curl up, and then you're just switching. Keep the pit of your belly sinking and your whole low back flat on the mat. See if you can appreciate the one side stabilizing while the other side's drawing the limb in and out. Keep going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Deep, deep lower bellies. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch your whole body long. Hug your knees next and rock from head to tail and through to downward facing dog. All the way through to downward facing dog. From there, right side pigeon pose. Right side pigeon pose. So your right thigh, keep that square to the right side of your mat, not at an angle. Keep your two hips level, one not sinking lower than the other. Use a block to tuck under your right hip if that's what keeps you from just sitting over onto your right side. Now, if you have a block under your hip, you can remove it. Now sit on that hip. Swing your left leg around for double pigeon. So you had your right leg on the bottom, keep it there. Left leg can sit over top of your right leg. You may find you're more sitting in this upright position. You may find you're able to stack your shins. Wherever you are, we're looking for you to be able to sit up out of your lower back. So lift up as tall as you can. For some, sitting higher with your hips on a surface, like a block or a folded up towel, helps you to be able to sit up out of your lower back. You may be able to fold forward. Folding forward happens belly to thighs, different from just face to shins. Want your whole torso to fold. Now breathe. Take a deep breath in. Have a sigh. Steady breathing in and out. See if there's a little more fold for you. Breathe in and out. One more breath. Fold as far as your body will allow. Then come up to downward facing dog and take the left side pigeon pose. So left knee up to your left hand on the ground. You can take this pose lying on your back. Otherwise, prone, face down. And bring your breathing here. Our breath is an access to so many things. Access to presence, to helping us with what the practice hopes for us to be able to accomplish, which is going inward to get to knowing ourselves better, knowing what it is to be inside of our own experience, experiencing all of our senses, our thoughts, our emotions, and then from there, expressing out. Sit on your left hip. Swing your right leg around. Create the double pigeon on this side. So left leg is the bottom leg. Right leg crosses across the top. Any variation, use blocks to support your knees. For anybody, hands on the floor and move your hips back. Lift up out of your lower back and fold. If you're able, it's ankles hanging off the sides of the thighs. And fold. You'll feel the opening in your hips. Maybe feel it in the outer sides of your ankles. Flex your feet as best you can. That's it. Yep. Take another breath and add a sigh and sink more deeply. Then just 2 more breaths. You got 1 more. And then we'll take frog pose. We won't be holding this for very long, so you could probably take it, most of you facing down on your mat. If you need to go to the wall, you can, but it's 90 degrees at the hips, the knees, and the ankles. Then your forearms on the ground, and you're working to allow your knees to slide, but lifting the pit of your belly to prevent a lot of extra sliding and to keep you more stable. Now breathe here in this pose. If you're on the wall, just make sure your knees and your toes point in the same direction. This is another one of those like Warrior Two, where it's easy to kind of over rotate your ankles and your toes would point more to the floor than what your knees do. That's it, Allison. That was a good adjustment. You got it, Brian. Jesse, yep, you made some good adjustments there too. Even here, you can set your gaze on one point and put your attention on your steady breathing. You can take a sigh here and see if it allows you to find and sink into a deeper level of the pose for you. Take one more deep breath. Exhale. Then bring your feet together behind you, slide forward. Come to your mat and have a seat. Once you're at your mat, sitting down, stretch your right leg out long, bend your left leg, turn to face your long right leg. And we want the same idea of lifting up in the lower back. So sitting on something that elevates your hips could be helpful. Then hinge. Something to soften the back of your straight leg's knee is helpful too. Left hand to the baby toe of your right foot or the calf or ankle, and then draw your chest toward your toes. Your right hand can stay balancing you on the floor or wrap your hand behind your back. Now find the spot in your back where you feel the most tension from the pose, the most action, and breathe and see if just the act of filling your lungs with breath and softening will bring some new space into that area of your body. In this pose, take a sigh and see if it lets you sink a little more deeply in the pose. Then switch sides, bent right leg, straight left leg. Hinge toward your long left leg and fold. Maybe your hand behind your back. Each day you can come to your mat and practice. You can do the same practice every day for a year and have dramatically different experiences every single day by just staying present more and more each time, knowing your body, being willing to be curious, to breathe and see what's available as a possibility in every single pose. And in that way, through a practice, you create healthiness in your body, healthiness in your mind, and it translates off of your mat into all of the activities of your day. Come on up, 2 legs in front of you, and hinge forward. You might hold the baby toe side of your feet or use a strap to hinge forward. Every time you inhale, maybe just lift up a little more out of your lower back, lengthen your sides, and fold. You could rock your weight from hip to hip and just walk each hip behind you a little bit more. Take one breath. Exhale and really fold. Then come on up for reverse tabletop. Lean back on your hands. Fingertips point toward your feet, straight or bent legs. Roll your shoulders back. Then press your hands down into the ground and lift up. See if you can allow for a sinking quality of your hands sinking down into the floor. and then hugging inward toward the thumb side of your hands. See if as you let your hands sink, there's a sense of your chest rising up. Then sit down. 2 active legs. Let's do just active feet. Press them away from you. Hands like a C shape around your hips. Bring your forearms to the ground. And then press your hands into your hips and your heels away from you so your sides stretch really long. Then sink your elbows into the ground so your chest starts to open up and back. This pose, not a sinking pose, but an opening pose. It's your last back bend of this practice. Now breathe and expand your chest and upper back. Really see if you can become aware of the expansion in your upper back with this last breath. Tuck your chin and roll onto your flat back. Once you're on your flat back, waterfall pose with your legs in the air. A block under your pelvis can feel really nice for this. Or roll your feet overhead to plow pose. Once you get to plow pose, establish your shoulders as a reliable foundation and hands to your lower back to just help keep you steady. From plow, you can take your legs straight up in the air for shoulder stand. If you feel crowded in this pose, sometimes I think that's the way that it feels. Anchor your shoulders more down into the mat and lift up. See if you can make enough space that you can still breathe a smooth and steady breath. Then if you're in the shoulder stand, you can bring your feet overhead to plow pose. Maybe even bend your knees around beside your temples or your ears. That'll really require a lot of lift to not feel crowded. Then ultimately come rolling out of the pose one bone at a time until you're on your long, flat back. Once you're there, hug your knees into your chest. You can drop your knees to the left and look to the right. And take a breath. And have a sigh. Switch sides. Deep breath in. Sigh. Come back to the center. Supta Baddha Konasana, so soles of your knees or feet together, knees open wide. Take a breath in and a breath out. In studio, you've got a cold eye towel near the top right or left of your mat. You're welcome to place that over your eyes if that feels comfortable. And then stretch your legs long and wide, arms wide, palms facing up for Shavasana. Once you get settled on your back, inhale and exhale. This whole practice brings us to this deep rest pose. Breath by breath, pose by pose. Each time we placed our gaze and held it there purposefully, we were exercising the ability to hold our attention in one place. That place being the present moment. gives you the opportunity to lie here and experience whatever you're experiencing through your senses, what you hear, you smell, you feel, how it is in your emotional experience, your thoughts. All of those things, they occur as they do, and that you can be still, sensing all of that come and go, and you are just a presence. So begin to deepen your breathing. Maybe even add in a sigh. And then wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe even squeeze them. You can hug your knees into your chest, roll to your side, bring yourself up into a sitting position. Stretch your arms overhead and sit up tall. Then bring your hands to prayer position at the center of your chest and pause for a moment. Feel how it is for you now. And from here, set an intention for the rest of your day. 3 more times. Let's chant Om together. Take a breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead and take a breath in. Exhale. Namaste. Thank you all for being here. I know that I am blessed for getting to spend this time together, and that we all are blessed to be in such a healthy body and having an incredible practice. So I'm grateful for you for being here. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye, Ratana. Thank you for joining us from home. Good to see you.